Hello, come on in. Welcome to Weddings by the Bay in Cranberry Cove. Yes, we have an opening right now. Sure, come on in. So, are you thinking of planning a wedding, or have you already started? You're just kind of getting beginning, okay? And you've decided on Cranberry Cove as your location? Perfect, okay. We have several very nice venues here. We have beachside weddings, we have some beautiful flower gardens, we have wild meadows, and those are just some of the outdoor ones. We have cliffside as well, and then we have a lot of indoor facilities that we work with as well, like historic homes. There's a museum that opens up for weddings, so lots to work with there. Do you happen to have your checklists? Have you started any checklists yet? No, okay. Well, we have several and that we work with, and I can just go over them with you now and give you copies of these, and it just helps as you get going for planning. You won't necessarily need everything on these, but it's a good way to make sure you don't forget things, overlook things. Do you have a budget in mind or a date in mind? Okay. Well, there is a timeline checklist which starts at 12 months out. Now, plenty of weddings are planned sooner than a year in advance. Are you thinking of for next summer? Okay, so you're about 10 months out. That's great. So you'll have lots of time to work on these different aspects. And your budget, did you mention, is that pretty firm or? Okay. Well, there's a budget checklist as well. And show you that one. This is a wedding budget estimator. And what's really cool about this is just an example printout, but it is an app that you can use, and you can put in, this is an example of $5,000, and it gives you a default percentage of what typically people might spend from the reception, their apparel, flowers, videos, the ceremony, stationery, rings, favors, gifts, rehearsal, dinner, etc., etc., etc. So it gives percentages. Now you can adjust those as you want, as long as it has up to 100%. But it's a good kind of basic to get you started, and then it tells you how much you have to budget in each of those categories based on your initial input. So let's say you said you had about 15,000 or so on your budget, so you could plug that in, and then it would give you the figures. And as you let's say you say, oh well, we already have our rings or something like that, you can zero that out, and then it gives you more to spread out in one of the other categories. So it's a really handy tool, and I will give you the little app to that. Normally it's not a free app, but we will provide that service free as part of our visit for you. And we do anywhere from full service wedding planning to just a partial consultation. Like, let's say you or doing most of it yourself, but you want help with the day of the event, or coordinating transportation, or flowers, or getting the reception halls booked, or the caterer. So we're basically from very little to the full shebang. Yes, that's, I think, why a lot of people like to use us, because we can customize to what works well for you, for your budget, and for your needs, and what your timeline is. Some people have a lot of time to spend, and maybe not as much money. Some people maybe a lot of money and not much time. Most people are somewhere in between those two. So we've got the budget estimator, and let's see, what's the most general checklists are here. This one is the one that goes by date, like 12 months to go, 9 to 11 months, 6 to 8, 3 to 5, 1 to 2, 1 to 2 weeks, the week of the wedding, and the wedding day. Guess what the first thing is on the wedding day? Eat breakfast. So they're not without a sense of humor. This is Kate Aspen's, by the way. She's really nice planner. And again, there are a lot more detailed checklists, but this is a good thing to get you started. You want to be thinking about how many guests, your budget, your date, and your venue, working with the planner, getting the guest list ready, and planning your wedding party if you're going to have a large wedding party especially. So a lot of these can move into, 9 months, 6 months, or whatever you have. So I will give you this one. And this is another checklist, but it's not based on time so much as category. So for instance, they have your stationery. Do you want invitations, maps, and direction cards, reply cards, save the date cards, a wedding program, thank you notes, bridal shower invitations? So you may use, 1 or 2 of these, or all of them. It's up to you and your budget and how involved you want to be. Then there's flower categories. This has about a dozen, including bouquets, corsages, reception centerpieces, garlands, greenery, bouquet for the bridesmaids and the flower girls, etc. Gifts and favors, pampering, things like hairdressers, manicure, pedicure, makeup. Apparel, of course, is a big category, because not just a dress, but you need shoes, do you need a slip, special hosiery, jewelry, gloves, bridesmaids, dresses and accessories, and then of course in the grooms, any honeymooning clothing. So it's all included in there. And the ceremony includes, if there's a minister or a reverend, the location fee, rentals of chairs, tables, things like that. Ring bearer, pillow, flower girl, basket, candles, aisles, runners, ushers, gratuity, transportation, and child care coming there. We've got the rings. The reception is probably the biggest category, because that's like the major part of the wedding day usually. It's the big reception party. We've got the caterers, music, bartenders, security, wedding cake. Is there a groom's cake? Do you need a special cake knife? Table decorations, dishes, glassware, linens, guest book, entertainment. Are you going to have a rice? Is parking taken care of? Transportation, lighting, etc., etc. And then different vendors you may be using. Caterers, lighting vendors, photographers, hairstylists, makeup, and event rentals, cleanup crew? Do you need servers, etc.? And then there's afterwards transportation, if there'd be a hotel, honeymoon booked, and all of that. So this kind of takes you through all the categories. So using this together with the timeline checklist and kind of cross referencing them back and forth gives you a very good feel. And so if you decide to do this for the large part on your own, you will be able to cross off all of the things that you want or need without overlooking something. And we can help, like, let's say you're working on it and you get stuck or you're confused or something, you can always give us a call or come by, and we're happy to help you sort things out. And we have a lot of vendors that we work with, of course, so we can help with things like selecting the best flower, merchants in town, and the caterers and the different caterer specialists and things like that, specialties. Okay, so there's these two, and this one is just on flowers, and you might not necessarily need the individual checklist, but if you were wanting, like, go all out certain areas, like some people just love to have a lot of flowers. There are a lot of specialized checklists like this. But you could get one on, this one's on flowers, you could get one just on the stationery or on the clothing or the reception, things like that. But this includes things like the bride's floral crown, hair flowers, bride's bouquet, bridesmaid's bouquet, boutonniere for the groom, fresh flowers for parents and grandparents. Then there's the ceremony flowers, so entryway arrangements, aisle decorations, basket decorations, and aisle bouquets. And then at the reception, you will have its reception entryway, centerpieces, flower wall, and flowers for your newlywed car if you're going to do that. So again, this is more involved. You may just find that you need 2 or 3 of these things, but it's nice to know these specialized checklists are available. And then this is another cost checklist that you can use in conjunction with the app, the 4-Day Budget Estimator. This just runs down all of the most basic things that you need. And you can write down an estimate, and we can certainly help with that. Or you may get the estimate once you start shopping for the different things like shoes and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, and you can write the estimates and then the actual amount that ends up being there. And it's just kind of a way to help keep you on track. So there's the miscellaneous, attire and beauty, ceremony, stationery, rings and gifts, and the reception. So there are more of these checklists. So as you can go along and you want something more specialized, feel free to ask, because we have a lot more. But these are kind of the good basic ones to get people started thinking about the different aspects. Now, do you have like any particular design or themes or in mind or anything like that so far? Not really. Well, we have just the thing for you. This is a wonderful book. It's called Modern Wedding, Creating a Celebration That Looks and Feels Like You by Kelsey McKinnon. And I'll just show you a little bit of what's here. And if you like, I can loan you a copy. They're kind of expensive to purchase, but we have several copies in the shop. Yes. No, that's no problem. Usually we loan them for about a month, but if you need it for several months, that's fine. We have many copies around, so it's a very inspiring book because it shows a lot of pictures to give you some like inspiration, what you might like, and some ideas you may not have thought of before. Are you thinking indoor or outdoor? So far, you're thinking maybe an outdoor? It's fantastic. Even just cakes, like you can get so carried away just looking at cakes. So at this early stage, we suggest you get inspired by books like this, and also of course you can get other books from the library. You can get magazines, look on websites, but just don't get yourself overwhelmed, because sometimes that happens too. Just think of it as wanting to get inspired and start thinking about what you would like. So this section is stationery. And they do have a little bit of a checklist of sorts in each section too, like creating a guest list, timeline and budget, hiring a stationer, suite to design, invitation wording, envelopes, stamps, mailing, and the wedding website. Wedding websites are very popular these days, and we're happy to set you up if you'd like to do something like that as well. So just kind of go through to show you what is in here, thinking about the different types of paper, different kinds of cards, printing, what you want it to look like. The rest of this is about stationery, website, and we have the there's a little section on registry. That's another whole area. It's registering for gifts if you choose to. Not everybody chooses to. And then you've got the aisle style. Your attendants, your bouquets, groom's guide, wedding ring, etc. These are some gowns to get you inspired. Have you started looking at gowns yet? You have. Did you find any that you really love so far? Yeah, well, that's understandable. It's one of the things that often takes people the longest to find just what's right, because sometimes what looks beautiful on one person might just look so-so on another person. So much depends on your the look you want and your what kind of style you like and goes well with your personality, etc. That's so pretty. Are you more contemporary, or do you like more romantic, or sweet and simple? Then you're sleek and minimal. If you have a very long, slim figure, you can get away with something like that. Sweet and simple. Oh, lace. We've got ladylike lace. Some people love lace and be head to toe with lace. Statement makers. Now is the time to indulge your fairy tale fantasy. Surprisingly, many of these looks are actually quite easy to wear, but a big skirt really isn't conducive to sitting down for a lengthy meal, so you may want to choose a second look for the reception. Offset a dramatic dress with natural hair and makeup and a low-key bouquet so that your look doesn't feel too fussy. That's kind of look like a queen from, I don't know, the King Arthur era. Unconventionalists. Here's like overalls, a shirt dress, a little suit, a short and sweet, like a twiggy dress, and actually prints. Some people actually have prints. So it's just things to think about, like, do you like tradition? Do you want to go something new age or modern? Bustles kind of appealing to some people. The whole section on veils, which can be really beautiful. Shoes, of course. Jewelry. Then there's a little section on makeup. Doing your hair and makeup. Flowers in your hair. Things like that. There's different bouquet styles. These are pretty yellow and white poppies. Alright, what else have we got here? So it gives you the idea. Oh, here's a section for the grooms. Got tuxedos, etc. Groomsmen, here they all wearing their black suits with white dress shirts. And there's navy, which is a nice classic clean look as well. Here's an Italian countryside celebration. Sometimes we recommend that you pick your site first, because the site can be your inspiration for everything else that comes. So like, if you go look around and you just fall in love with one, like when we got married, there's this beautiful garden. So this is an old house with a lot of large windows and conservatories, flowers and brick patios, but very rustic brick patios, and flower gardens all over, and a beautiful archway, and it was just so charming. Unfortunately, it was way beyond our budget, but if you find some place that you love, then that can inspire like what your dress might be like, or what your flowers might be like. So like if you're thinking outdoor at the beach or in a meadow or something, then once you tie that down and get that booked with a date, then everything kind of falls in place around that. So that's kind of what we recommend. Not everybody chooses to do it that way, which is fine. That's just the way we suggest it. So if you don't have another kind of approach, and there's a section about your tables. You're going to have a tent. It's a really nice, beautiful tent with flowers and laurel wreaths and everything like that. So you can really make those look nice. With the outdoor wedding, we do recommend having a covered area, because you never know when the weather might change all of a sudden. You don't want to be stuck in a rain with no covering. So yes, we have some tent rental agencies in town, and we can certainly help you get set up with that if you're going to go with the outdoor. This is a Hawaiian wedding. So let's see, the registry, scattered throughout the book are little possible registry items, just again to get you thinking, get you inspired. Then there's the reception, thinking about seating. What kind of textiles do you want? Linens, printed? Do you want formal? Do you want more casual, country? You're thinking of sort of a country casual? Yes, like yes. No, I know what you mean. You want it pretty with maybe a little bit of lace, but maybe natural fabrics. Maybe a little bit of ruffles. Yes, no, I understand. This is about catering. Anyway, you can see that they cover so many things and just different ideas, inspirations to barn dance. Floor plans, lighting. You do a lot with lighting too. You'd be surprised. Even in tents, they can do a lot with electrical. Candles are really nice to have. You can have paper lanterns. You can have lights set into floral arrangements. It's very romantic. There's a dog barking outside. I hope that's not too loud. Okay, well, I think that gives you the idea. Let's see. Oh, music, of course, is a big section. You could have DJs, you can have live bands. You can have something simple, like we had a guitarist. Very simple. And little gifts for the bride and groom and the other people in the wedding. So they do have some of their own charts in the back, or checklists and things, and you're welcome to photocopy these and use these if you like. There's a budget breakdown by category here, a little discussion about tipping, and they also have a percentage of the total budget. So this is like the app, but it gives you a range, and it's not with the app. It's, of course, you can adjust it. This way you have to do the math yourself. But we've got the reception, including venue, food, alcohol, staff, and rentals. Got the planner, photographer, videographer, attire, and beauty. Beauty, of course, means makeup and getting your hair done and things like that. Entertainment, music, flowers, stationery, wedding rings, parking and transportation, welcome gifts and favors, cake, and miscellaneous such as the marriage license, permits, hotel rooms, etc. So this is another kind of guide you can go on, as well as the app. And here's like an estimated cost based on a $35,000 budget. So this says the average wedding in the United States costs just over $30,000 and has around 150 guests. Ours was very small. We had about 30, 35. So that is quite obviously. I mean, you said you maybe have about half that. And 150 guests, is a pretty large number. You can go way smaller than that, obviously, and your costs go way down. All right. So that gives you the idea of this, what is in here, a lot of inspirations. And let's see, I think I wanted to start just to get some basics because I don't have you in our system yet. Could I just get your name? Carla. Oh, Carly. Okay, Carly. Carly Mathis. All right. And a telephone. And email. Okay. And you're thinking of next June, you said, right? Just to get some of the basics here. So that would be June 2024. Okay. Now, June is the most popular wedding month, as you probably know. So the earlier the better in terms of reserving things, because things may start to book up. You'd be surprised. Yeah. And so your budget, you said, is around $15,000. Okay. You said outdoor you prefer, and beach if possible. So I will email you a list of the beach venues that we have here in Cranberry Cove that do weddings, and that way you can start to plan to visit them and see what you like. So there's like beach, like literally on the beach in the sand, and then there's some that are up above on the cliffs where you can overlook the ocean. There's some that are like little alcoves, like meadows that are along the shore where you have a beautiful vista. So the various, even within the beach area or the bay area, you have a lot of options. Now, do you know roughly how many guests? Have you thought about that yet? No. Well, that's something you might want to start thinking about, because once you start looking at venues, you're going to want to have a rough idea of how many people, because some of them can fit quite a lot of people. Some of them are intimate spaces and may take, 50 at the most or something. So that's something definitely on your to-do list right away. Besides visit venues and guest list size. Based on your budget, you may want to limit your guests to around 75 or something like that at the most, but that's, again, it depends on so many things, but that's just something to think about. So you can sit down with your fiance and start to come up with a tentative guest list to get an idea of the number. But I would say ballpark, just to look at, this is not more than 75 for your budget on average. Okay. And do you have an idea of whether you would like our services like a full service, or just custom in terms of just what you need? Not quite full service. That's fine. I mean, mostly people that do the full service have they're just extremely busy, and then you don't have time to do very much. But we can do a partial service, so like we can help provide you with lists of caterers and set up appointments. You can even have a catering event here where we collect the samples from as many as you want and have it here, and that way you can come and just try all of the samples of all their different foods without you having to go around to each place. So that's a really nice thing that it's useful for us to do. It saves you time, a lot of running around. Same thing with florals. We have about three or four florists that we work with that we think very highly of, and they can provide samples. Like once you get a little bit more about your color scheme and the venue, because the florals will depend on the venue. If it's a windy location, obviously that's going to affect what kind of flowers and plants and things you can get in terms of your decorations and such. So once you get that a little bit more ironed down, we can have them bring samples, and you can just come here and see them all at one time and pick. So again, it's saving you time. Does that sound good? Okay. All right. So we'll do the floral and the caterers. Also with the catering, you want to decide for your reception. You're looking for finger foods. You want to do a full sit-down meal. That's another thing that will help once you start looking at your budget a little more. You find out what you want to do in terms of that. Excuse me. All right. Well, I don't want to overload you. Is this enough to get you started for now, do you think?